Bing, ding, dong. Let's see here. Three, two, one, and we should be live. If everyone can hear me out there, if you can give me a thumbs up, or hey Ken, we can hear you, or hey Ken, we can hear you, and you're just talking to someone. Yeah, it's been a while. I apologize. Kind of enjoying a little bit of a summer break, but Labor Day is coming up. It's time to get the hit the pavement, get things up and running again, and have some great stuff on more live streams and all that kind of stuff. And of course, this is really, honestly, the little bit more exciting times in the market. There's a lot of times where, historically speaking, where the summer months are very choppy. They're not the most exciting. All these kind of scenarios behind it, but because if you go even to the NASDAQ and we go all the way up to like a 10-year chart, it doesn't really do the best, but like we've been flying, ladies and gentlemen, lately. Like this is a crazy, that's a hell of a move since the bottom of 2020. Like that was insane in the membrane, okay? Gangbusters. Alan, thank you for coming. Kyle, Rob, David, and then Franklin, thank you so much. Thank you for checking that you can hear me. Fantastic, guys. It's time to get back to work. Yeah, no more effing around. Let's have some fun here. So, I don't know how we want to do this or what we want to go with. I can give you my overall consensus on the market. I'm really just like, it's been really, really insane moves here. If you have joined the Discord, you can, it's completely free, link in the description, where I kind of give my some stocks people ask about or what my overall views are. As of right now, I honestly feel things are so super hot that I don't know. Like it's like the crazy buildup. Like we could have a crazy run for the next 4 to 6 weeks, which a lot of people have projected, and that we could see a newest move higher since the way the Fed was kind of just pushing the taper and higher interest rates out. But anything can really change the market too. Like if anyone ever knew just one single market crash, they would become set for generations. And if they even if they had a small amount of cash or capital, if you knew a market crash was coming, you could prep for it perfectly, right? And set up all the scenarios. You want to buy VIX, I'm going to buy really at the money or far out SPY puts on the exact date, all these kind of things. You can kind of play around it. But it's definitely going to be very interesting. And the thing that I always kind of refer to kind of keep me somewhat grounded is the Stock Traders Almanac. I know it's like, Ken, what the hell are you doing reading an almanac for stocks? But it's just data. All it is data. And historically speaking, they're saying in August, next to the last day of trading, the S&P 500 is down 17 of the last 24 years. So, what are we looking at right now? The S&P 500 is down literally 1 point. So far they're right. Like it's not like it's going to be down 11% or something like that, but it's still like just historically speaking. But then you have traditionally on the first trading day on Wednesday, the first trading day on Wednesdays, the S&P 500 is up 14 of the last 25. So it's a little bit better than a coin flip right there. But down 9 of the last 12. So the last 12 years, it's been down 75% of the time on Wednesday. It's the 1st of September. Again, it goes in great detail on like what the Dow was doing, what the worst year was, what was the best year, and all these little things around it. So I like it. It keeps me, gives me one extra point of data, honestly, and helps me kind of better understand things. And most likely, if anyone tells you they know what the market's going to be doing next, they're full of malarkey and they just don't know. Everything is probabilities, right? Like, what's the probability of the market crashing down to 4,000? I can give you the probability as of right now, but anything can happen in the market. But yeah, so let's go here. Handles, I say, hey Ken, hope you had a great weekend. I did. Hope to you as well. What up with the market, man? I mean, it's going to crash, but it shot past the moon and bounced off Mars. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same camp with you. Like, it's I'm not like, if you remember, like a lot of people sometimes are somewhat stagnant. Last October, when we were like, oh, the market's gonna crash because the election, or so let's just kind of go back to that kind of looking in that sense, like that we had pretty insane. Let me scroll this out. Let me do weekly, and then we're gonna go 2021. We're gonna do April into September. Oh no, wrong way. I go March into September right here. It was basically this area over here. So if you remember, September was a pretty large pullback of last year. And then, of course, the beginning of November when we had the election and everything, that was a large market pullback as well. But each time we came down to nearly that 34 EMA here. We're currently looking at S&P 500 on the weekly side. We have not tested this at all in the NASDAQ since that date of basically October, was that October 26th of last year. As you can see, I have some alerts. I'm looking for, that would be my, like, if the shit hits the, sorry, if the S hits the F, that thing could easily bring up there. Do I know what's going to cause that? I don't know. I can speculate. It could be tapering. It could be interest rates. It could be some kind of attack. It could be some other another wave of a virus of some kind. Who knows, right? Like, I can speculate all I want on that, but I am a chartist. I like technicals. I like looking at the stocks on a analytical basis of the trend. And as you can see here, that 34 EMA on the weekly chart, this is the weekly chart, has been pretty stagnant. I mean, not pretty tested very well. And even since the move that we had before the virus, we tested the 34 EMA all the time, right? But now we're just going gangbusters because we're getting a lot of money and notes and just a lot of stimulus into the economy. Yes, things are growing, things are fantastic, but all good things come to a certain end. Like, I'm not calling it for like a major crash. Like, a small correction would be honestly super healthy right now. Honestly, that's just my opinion. Handle, honestly, I would like a pullback of some kind. It just to kind of maybe rebalance some folks and things like that. As you can see here, the last, what is this, since, what is that, May-ish, in April into May, we've tested the 34 EMA on the daily chart a couple times here, but not very much. And it's been trading pretty aggressively where we're currently looking at. So putting in better context, let's go to the S&P 500, and we're basically looking for potentially, if we do see a pullback, to 440 bucks. That's going to be looking for some action going there. Is that going to happen this week? I don't know. Probably not, but who knows, right? So the S&P 500 market move for this week, what would be the third, would be potentially plus or minus nearly $6. So that's kind of puts it out of the deviation move for that, the one deviation move. But a two deviation move is very likely for that to potentially happen. Right? Like, you can see here, like, if we do get a pullback, it happens fairly fast, and then it kind of comes out here. But you see here, ignore these red arrows here. That's not the most accurate. Those happen after the fact. But usually we kind of run up a little bit. We get a little bit further away from the 8 EMA, and then we kind of come back down to the 34, or at least touch the 8, and then we kind of go back to the 34. But right, so that if we look here to the weekly side on this chart, that would be potentially that pullback we talked about on the 34 EMA on the weekly side would be around $413 to $415 range. And that would be a pretty substantial pullback, because on a percentage basis, if we just pulled back tomorrow right to that point, that would be nearly an 8% move, right? It's not a crash. It's a pretty steep pullback. It's not a crazy market crash. It's just a pullback or a slight correction. It's not a crash. A crash is usually tied to like 15% plus. It always changes. They say 10, 15, 20, like, and then bear market is 30 plus, and then depending on GDP growth and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that's what we basically can look at for there. At the market. Can we continue going higher? Yes, sure. Why not? Like, again, the market is the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, they're all trying to go to those higher levels. So not trying to fight the trend. I'm just going to start waiting to maybe see some weakness. I'm not a person that likes to short things just because I don't have the cojones to do it honest of the time. And I'm very quick on the trigger. So if I do short something, I short something for a very short period of time, and I scalp it, honestly, rather than just trying to hold and hoping for that pullback that we might see. But this is, again, anything can happen in the market. We'll see on how the things come out. But I'm more of a person that likes to buy at some previous support or trend basis levels. So that's what we're looking at for that one. Alan says, I bought a first full cheap way out of money GLD, calls expiring 1/2022 as the play of the market poops the bed. GLD, that's gold. Yeah, so GLD had a nice move even on Friday. Like, so normally, theoretically speaking, gold and equities, the stock market that we're talking about, should normally trade in tandem, not in tandem. So if gold goes up, the indexes or the equity should go down. But it's kind of been a very weird mesh kind of like scenario remix kind of thing, where it hasn't been doing that kind of scenario. You can see here on some Fibonacci numbers here, we called maybe a potential double bottom here at like 159 to 160 here, Alan. I think it's a pretty good call on your part. I'm going to guess what options you buy. You said January 2022. Out of the money, I'm guessing you probably potentially bought like the 220s or 225s. It looks like there's a lot of open interest at 200. That might be they're 82 cents. That's gold can move drastically. As you can see, it did move at nearly 1.5% in a day. But the expected move is $14 to this time period, so it's at 170. It's gonna have to be some kind of a drastic move. But if there is a drastic move, these out of the money options are really gonna expand up and really jump up in value pretty fast. Of course, the time decay on it as well. You do have 145 days, but those are definitely very interesting plays. From my perspective, honestly, I like to buy in the money, even though they're further out. I would be potentially buying like the 165 to 160s, honestly. That would be like more my kind of cup of tea of trading. I'm normally not buying too many far out of the money calls like that. A couple other stocks that I was looking at has been Snapchat. So if you have joined the Discord, I've been kind of in and out of Snapchat, trading it for a little bit. I've kind of highlighted, I know I haven't made a video in a while, but I wanted to, on some very large options buying in Snapchat all the way out in November. So Snapchat's been a very choppy kind of stock. You kind of see here. I know there's quite a few lines here. I went really far out. Oh, you went 370? How much did you pay for that? That must have been like 5 cents. 370. Oh, okay. Yeah, there was. Yeah, you paid a. Oh, wow. Okay. Alan, Alan might be onto something. Who knows? You went really out there. Wow. Oh. So the Snapchat plays that we were looking at was actually further, a little bit closer, not leaps. They were more in like the November timeframe. They were like the 80 to 75 calls that were being bought fairly aggressively. Even you can see on Friday there was a lot of buying here, and the open interest keeps on climbing and climbing on Snapchat. So Snapchat is one I've been looking for. Of course, this kind of correlates with the Chinese ban of IPOs and U.S. companies, and then continuously kind of blocking any kind of investment or capital into the country, and blah blah blah. TikTok, see you later. We'll see what happens, kind of scenario there. But technically speaking, looking at the chart, this thing is, I like the setup. Like, it's still fairly aggressive here. This has bounced off that 34 EMA on the weekly side multiple times and continue to climb here. I'm really looking for this potentially to break above 80. And if we do see it run, this thing could easily potentially run to $101 within that end of year kind of time frame in mind, if things do go well, and if we do see a market pullback. But you kind of see here, I do have some $69.87 and $62 levels. Actually, need to move this one up a little bit here to potentially kind of cut or potentially add on how I feel about on those days there if it does come through. And it says tapering is a new term for me, and not sure what that means for the market. Also, Jackson Hole was always a big thing, or is it new too? So the Jackson Hole thing, from my perspective, has always been a fairly big thing. So I can tell you a scenario in 2018 when they wanted to raise interest rates too fast. That was right here. So this was it was basically almost around the same time, the September into the year close. They're talking about raising rates, the Fed was, and it just continued to crash, and the market just didn't like it. But then on Christmas Eve, the market was open for like, I think, the half day. It bottomed that day, and it made a rally. They're like, you know what? We did a mistake. We apologize. We are not going to raise interest rates. And the market's like, okay, we love you. And then it's continued to climb. And then we got hit by a virus. Yeah, that's always the thing. It's kind of it hasn't really been a thing. Like, I've heard about it multiple times, but in 2018, it was definitely a pretty huge thing. And then tapering, what that means is basically right now the Fed is issuing and buying these like debts and bonds. I think it's like 140 billion a month. Okay, so tapering meaning like you're tapering off of drugs or whatever. You're slowly taking a little bit off. Like, okay, we're gonna cut it from 150 to 140 over the next 3 months, and then at 140, we're going to take off another $5 billion every month for the next 6 months, and then we're going to see what we're looking at. So that's basically what tapering is, and what they really wanted to do and persuade the investors, the economy, the market, was tapering is in a different box, and then the interest rates is another box as well. So just tapering of like, hey, we're putting a lot of like the stimulus in the market, which most people don't understand on how the buying and all those the money printing that the Fed is doing to help kind of support the economy, to kind of grow businesses, allow lending, all this kind of stuff. You can definitely see, oh, it's 120 billion. Okay, thank you, my friend. So just seeing it kind of taper from that. That's what tapering means. You know, I got to talk about it. Disney, I've been buying at the 170 to like the 172 to 175 range pretty much since like May. I've been just buying it like every other week or so, just buying I've added longer dated calls, but I've just been buying stock. This is something that I want to continue to build a much larger position in, and looking for the potential market move back up to 200, honestly, for the options. But I'm going to keep the stock probably for a very long time and give it to most likely give it to my daughter down the road. But yeah, I love Disney. This is a nice looking setup here, honestly, on my opinion. It's been holding that 34 EMA. A break below the 173 to 170 could be a little cautious. Of course, if the whole overall market does pull back, it's definitely going to take Disney down because it's tied to a lot of those ETFs. And that's also on the weekly chart. So looking here more aggressively here. Actually, let me get rid of these arrows. I'm sorry. It's been just kind of consolidating. And those are my favorite kind of patterns. Rusty Fly Lion. Hey, Ken, could you please do coin, my friend? Of course. Coin has been on my radar. Of course, we have a pretty large influx of Bitcoin. What did it hit? Did it break 50? It hasn't broken 50 yet. Okay. IPO came out. So normally, honestly, Rusty, I like to wait 3 to 4 quarters or 2 earnings reports before I kind of buy into these like IPO stocks, because I want to let things kind of flush out and kind of see where things stand. I did the same thing with Uber. I did the same thing with, I did trade Beyond Meat for a little bit, and those kind of stocks. And I just like the way that I'm doing it with Airbnb as well, and so forth. But Coin, this isn't too much data because, again, it's only been out since like April. And you can kind of see here, it kind of toppled with Bitcoin. It's been kind of trying to get back up on its feet here. It does has a significant level here, basically some short-term initial support here around 240, but it has pretty strong support to the downside around 215. That's what I'd be looking for. Initially speaking, a breakout and continuously movement above 270 to 280 could be a nice little breakout there as well. But if we just do a very basic fib from the very swing high to the swing low, you can kind of see here that 260 levels being a little bit of a barrier here. You can kind of see it failed here, did kind of break out here a little bit, but then came right back down, failed here a little bit. We'll see if this can kind of finally break above that 260 range there. But you can kind of see that 300 level has also been a problem there. It looks like my Steam account is on as well. Sorry about that. There we go. And plus, that guy plays so much Borderlands, it's insane. I think he has like 5,000 hours on it. It's insane. So that's my look at, honestly, their coin, Rusty. Like, I think it's building a potential nice base here. I'm a little bit more hesitant because, again, it's somewhat new, and there's still some people just trying to get a hold of it. Ryan, Logitech, I think you and I both sold some puts in this, and I got out of it. I don't know if you're still in it. It's trying to build a base here. It really is, but it's not really looking too healthy from my perspective, and I would rather just use my capital for something else. Could it be basing here or building a base here and kind of coming through here? Maybe. Once I go out to like a weekly chart, which kind of gives me a little bit of better perspective, that 34 EMA here on the weekly side, doesn't look very healthy. And we're having the 8 EMA potentially cross through the 34 EMA, and that usually potentially can create like a scenario where we could see some more selling coming through. And maybe seeing a base from there. You can see that each time in the last time the 8 has crossed the 34, it has kind of potentially bottomed out, but there's been most times where it just kind of slowly kind of crosses through it and just kind of continues further down. It's just something I really don't want to touch right now. I love the company. I own all their products here, but the chart's not really speaking to me. But on the flip side there, Ryan, TSM, give Ryan a pat on the back on this one. He went into the Discord and said, I'm going balls deep into TSM here. And he was buying, I think you're buying below 110, right, Ryan? And now it's up to that 120, which is that initial target that we talked about. I don't know, was that like a week ago? But it's hitting that 119 to 120 level multiple times. And if you zoom out to the weekly side, this is where the Fibonacci is coming into here. We've seen this, especially with TSM. There's a lot of political stuff going on of potential China declaring that they're part of sovereign soil of the CDP, or whatever that kind of political mischief is going on there. That is definitely something that is concerning, honestly. But looking at what TSM does as a whole company, they are literally the company that supplies semiconductors for Apple, AMD, and yeah, I love TSM as well. Like it's a great stock. This is kind of my favorite pattern. I think most people know that building of a base here and potentially seeing that pop come through. But you have to be very careful here. Again, I like to keep things on a fairly short leash, and especially this thing does move quite drastically here. This could be a nice little perfect storm here. If we do get any kind of positive news, we can potentially easily break above that 119, run to 130, even maybe test the highs around 142. So, but my get out of Dodge is basically on a very short leash, maybe that 106, 105 range. But the next level of support is really around $100 if we do see that kind of pullback in the market there. Dan's asking for GME. Yeah, we can look at GME. This thing has been insane, right? Like each time it comes down to this $145 range, I keep telling myself, Ken, you need to buy some just to see what happens. Just maybe buy a handful of shares and just kind of go with it. Each time this mother trucker hits this level, it pops. It really does. It really does. Like it really, it abides by the rule of this fib. So that it's basically $144 to $145 is that level that I'm talking about here. And then it usually pops up to potentially 209. But if it really gets any kind of momentum, we're looking for like 260 plus. Potentially that's the next level. And maybe an intraday move to potentially $300 plus. Again, I do see the earnings coming out the 8th of September, so we're less than a week and a half away. That is definitely something that could make it move, right? Like this thing is completely insane in the membrane. It can go gangbusters at any time. I'm just a little bit more afraid of the volume has been kind of slowly coming down here. Of course, this is absolutely insane volume over here. Like, I remember, I don't know if most people remember the story where someone came into the Discord in the live stream and said, if you go back to like the first live stream I did in January of this year, there was like this, I forget the guy's name, I should have remembered it. He's like, Ken, you need to put in like 10K into GME. It's going to the moon. I said, GME, it already went to like $20. Like, how high can it go? And yeah, I did the math. If I even just bought 10K of shares, that's insane. Let me just do the math here real fast to kind of show the complete chaos. So if I had 10K and I divided it by $20 a share, that's 500 shares times, let's just say 300, that'd be $150,000, right? But I would have mostly done it in shares I wouldn't have done $10,000, but I would have maybe done 1,000. That would have been $15,000. But even some of the options I was looking at, I did some scenarios. It's not. You bought at 170? Yeah, you're making money, right? Like you're up on it, even if it is only 2 shares, dude. But yeah, you have to understand this is a very not your ordinary stock here, though. So it's definitely a cult-like kind of scenario, or like what I call a black hole, where the gravitational pull is unknown and it just kind of just do weird random things without you knowing. Kelly D, what's up, my friend? Hey, Ken and everyone, I'm late again. Kenny, what's your thoughts on Sam? Yeah, they had a bad earnings. They kind of came, that's been continued to climb lower and lower. This was like their bad numbers on Seltzer, right? Kelly D, if I remember right. Looking back here, so I'm basically looking to kind of see where it was before the pandemic. And I'm going to potentially say, So this is what we're talking about. When we see on the weekly chart, the 8 EMA cross the 34 at like that, almost at that 45-degree angle, it can be pretty nasty. It can be a really bad, hairy day. And then, of course, with earnings, it missed. It just really kind of came crashing down. This one's going to be a difficult one here, honestly, to look at, but we can kind of just draw a very basic fib here. It has clearly broken past the 618 to this side. Let me go do the other way, sorry. Boop. So we talked about that nearly that $900 level potentially to hold, but of course earnings came out and just kind of smoked right through it. We talked about the 144 EMA hold. Nope, see you later, Sam. And then continue to run. So the next level we're talking about is around 495, and that basically kind of puts us in before that very large market run that we saw. But yeah, this is something I really don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole, honestly, Kelly, because it's just kind of continue going down. I would need to really see this kind of base on a certain, like a Fibonacci level or some kind of like a moving average that of my liking. Brian's asking about how about CAT or X for an infrastructure play? Yeah, I like both of these as well. CAT is looking really sexy here, if I can say that about the stock. Holding the 78.6 Fibonacci number here and holding that 34 EMA. Even though it has had a very large market run, it has pulled back. It has continued to kind of build the base. It's not continued trending lower here. The 8 has not crossed through the 34 EMA. Just remember, though, we're looking here at the weekly chart. So let's just kind of scan into the daily chart. You can kind of see this nice little pattern here. It's just holding around, in and around that 12, 210 area for some time. So that's a nice little combination of building up here if we do get a kind of a large market move there. X is, of course, another one that's been on its own, like kind of like planet here. This thing has, I remember when this thing was like, yeah, $5. This thing has just been insane. Oh, let me update this fib here. I had probably on a 5-year chart. Really impressive moves here. Not as, like, this setup looks really good as well. It actually looks slightly better because it's been kind of continued kind of trading higher and looking to test that $30 plus. That's going to be that previous high that we saw way back when, basically before it kind of came down. That was October of 18, basically. We haven't seen those prices since then. So relatively speaking, if we do get a break above that $30.91 and kind of close above that level, technically speaking, that gives you a bull move to potentially continue its way to $38 on that trend. So, Orlando, what's up, my friend? Hey, Ken, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well. Can you please provide any feedback about BABA? Thank you in advance. Yeah, BABA is honestly something I want to be very careful about because I have got a enormous amount of requests to do something or talk about this one. As of right now, the way I trade or invest on the technical levels, I can't touch it. There's just so much bad press. I understand trying to buy the bad news and things like that. It's still a good company. It makes a product. I totally understand that. For like, if you want to take that, I've always had a philosophy. I've always been a little bit hesitant of, not just because I don't understand the Chinese market. I just don't understand the Chinese, the government. Honestly, I don't understand the way policies are made. I understand that here in the United States. I actually really don't understand the United States as well. I actually don't think most people actually understand what's going on in politics. But this is just something that is very out of the ordinary. Technically speaking, it just looks like a massive, just continuously kind of driving lower here. I have some levels here that I would potentially maybe nibble, but that has not been reached. I'm looking for like 145 to 146, and I would maybe look at it. But this thing is just continued to coming down. Like, these are just, the way I look at these red candles are just like large knives and cleavers that are falling, and I don't want to catch a falling knife because I want to cut my hand, and I got pretty hands, so I don't want to damage my hands on these market moves. Could you catch a hell of a pop up? Heck yeah, you can. Especially this week, we have had a pretty large pop up where we bottomed at like 152 and then popped up like 10 plus bucks, a gap up. But again, we did not break that 8 EMA. It's still continuously driving lower here. The 8 is going lower. The 34 EMA is going lower in the daily chart. Even the 144 EMA is starting going lower. So what I really need to see is to kind of see it base out, have some of the news kind of like to blow over, and hate to say it, but like it's got to get boring and no one's talking about it for me to get into it. Like too many people are talking about it right now, and it's just bringing too much attention to it. It's kind of like talking about the man behind the curtain. Like you just don't think about it. You just that makes probably no sense. What up, Dave? SENS, pretty good ride last. Yes, it has been. What's up, my friend? Nice little move here. Looking here, let's bring it to the daily chart here. Nice little pop up here. We talked about that 295 level potentially holding on that fib tree, which again, the 50 percentile is not a fib number, but it is a pretty relative number. Again, talking over the current fib market we're looking at. What we're potentially looking for is if we start seeing a break above 215, maybe to that 245 to 250 range. That would be a very interesting play to kind of see how this one continue to kind of rocket ship higher here or there. But as of right now, we have a pretty okay base here around $2.95 to $3. I will drink some Sam Adams at the bar, Dan. Dan, you have to buy a lot of Sam Adams to kind of get their earnings up. Johnny All Cash, what's up, my friend? Hey, Ken, thoughts on CLOV and SPY? Yep. CLOV. Clover, Johnny, if you're in the Discord, right? We talked about this one on Friday just a little bit. I talked about this one. I added just a itsy teeny bit. I forget what I added though. Just on a play of just a pop. I bought the September 17th call, $9 call. So I bought the September 17th, the monthlies for September's, the $9 call. I think I paid like 55 cents. It's at 62 cents now. There was just a lot of large options buying on there, but that's the only reason. I only bought like, I think it's like five call options. So I spent less than like 200, 300 bucks. If it does pop though, I'm going to be a genius, right, Johnny? But looking here on the chart here, this has bottomed around maybe $8 to $7 before and maybe got a large print higher here. I like this one just because of the reason why I bought into it, honestly, is because it has a very large squeeze setting up and it's at previous levels of low level support here. So if we do see any kind of movement whatsoever, I understand earnings behind us, we get any kind of analyst upgrade, whatever, a huge move higher, this thing could be a huge move higher here, potentially to $10 to $11. That's what I'm really looking for. I'm most likely going to let those options expire worthless. That's just a bet I'm willing to take. Because again, it could just trade sideways and just continue to hold where it looks at. But it does have a pretty significant base here around $7.75 to $8 there, Johnny. And then SPY, yeah. SPY is honestly a coin flip for me right now, Johnny. Can it continue going higher? Sure, why not? It might as well. We did talk about some statistics, Johnny. I'll read those to you real fast. So this is coming from, not just from my head, this is from the Stock Trading Almanac for 2021. It's a great little book here. It says, usually on August, the next to last day, the S&P 500 is down 17 of the last 24 years. So 17 of the last 24 years, has been down on a Monday. Okay, but then they also said you have a rally on Tuesday, and sometimes a wish-wash day on Wednesday. So take that with a grain of salt, right? That doesn't mean jack crap. That just kind of puts things somewhat in perspective here. Again, Friday all-time high. Looking for some initial short-term support here around $446. A level that I would potentially be very interested in on maybe trading and kind of doing a quick day trade or a flip flap on is around $440 would be my first level of support if we do see a pullback. And that would be the 34 EMA here, where we've seen previous support multiple times. Schmidt is asking for Activision. Yeah, those guys are having a hell of a problem over there, right? Activision Blizzard, yeah. Yeah. This thing has been very choppy here. Once they kind of broke this $90 level, I was actually in the stock. I was actually buying it pretty aggressively here, actually around that $90 level. But once it broke, this is something that it broke so fast with this like news here. It just continued to shrink lower, 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 and lower. It's not in the most healthiest place here. It's kind of potentially trying to build a base here around 80. I'm saying potentially because it is a little bit more curvature. It's not like a nice solid brick, like a cobblestone stone road for support. This is like a janky wooden ash bridge that someone built in their backyard with some like disgruntled or some broken up 2x4s here on some level of support here. If we do see a pop here, we're potentially looking for some levels around 84 to 85 to be that first level of targets. But it's a tough one, right? Like, are you playing it more on the fundamental side or the technical side? Like, I love the stuff that they do. Like, I'm not a big fan of like Call of Duty stuff, but I've been a WoW player on and off for many years. But and Diablo's coming out. I want to see Overwatch 2 that's been on hold. There's not too many like good press going off on this one. Looking for this potentially to kind of hold out here and kind of see if we can kind of see some kind of bottom here. The one on the flip side I like a lot is actually EA. EA looks a little bit more heavier, a better pattern here. We're actually above the 144 EMA, and we're kind of building like some kind of base here potentially to kind of see a pop off here potentially soon. So that's what I'm looking for there. Saying is that, hey Ken, such a nice day, such a nice teacher. Love to watch you every Sunday show. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. Dan says, I have a SPY call for Monday, so hopefully it pops tomorrow. God bless you as well, Dan. Paul, hey Ken, BNGO had a run up last week. More upside, you think? Yeah, BNGO is one of those ones that was crazy last year, right? I'm not seeing a run up. It did see a potential like let's see here. What happened to my fibs here? Yeah, it does have the fib number around like 630 or 629. That's going to be something that I'm looking for move on that sense. If it does pop, you could potentially, again, anything can happen in the market, especially with a pharmaceutical company. A move to $8 could be in the cards, but this is a little nice. It's an okay base here. It's a little choppy here because the only thing it's a little bit of a problem with is this crazy move over here. Like, this kind of washes a lot of things away and just kind of putting this on like this is like if this was like a hospital or mental ward, this guy would be like on like suicide watch of like maybe this potentially could pop off or this could just kind of just crash down and just kind of just and be a disaster. So you have to be very careful. So I hope you have a plan, Paul, and you have like a strategical a way to, again, hope you're not putting your whole life savings on one single stock, but I think you're smarter than that. But looking for, yeah, technically speaking, that Fibonacci level around 630 is potentially somewhat of a potential short-term target, and maybe a market move to $8. But to the downside, starts breaking below 5, we could see that $4 range come into play again. Alan, my man, coming out with $10. I appreciate it. Blink charging EV charges for home and stations out in the wild. Long hold will chance of a squeeze. Revenue grew 43% annually. Short interest 35%, and utilization of 100% since August 3rd. Thoughts? Honestly, this has come up multiple times. Like, this was that SPAC, right? I forget what the SPAC number was for this one. But they had a huge move, right? So just like looking like BNGO, this market move right here is unheard of, right? This is insane. The membrane kind of coming back down to earth here. We're looking for some potential levels here around $28 to be some kind of potential short-term bottom here. You can kind of see it kind of hit that level here once, hit twice, let's call it 3 times and maybe 4 times here. So it's more time it kind of tests a level. I'm a little bit more hesitant about it, but it's hitting a level and kind of bouncing right off of it. It's like hitting a hot pan, like you get your skillet going or whatever, and you touch it like, holy shit, that's hot. Like, and you bounce off of it, you're not just continue holding your hand here. So this is like the hot liquid magma of the earth, and it just kind of bouncing off of it. So that's a good sign. But it also has been in a range here. So if we do see a pop here, we're looking for $42 plus. The data that you shared with there, Alan, looks fantastic. I don't know too much on the fundamental level on how they're doing. Honestly, on like the fundamental level, but the technical chart, the chart looks okay. And honestly, I'll write it in the Holy Grail book of Ken. So that's basically just the letter K on it, and it's kind of like my Bible for stocks. And I will look at it more in depth. So BL and K. And Alan, if you don't know Alan, fantastic dude. Again, thank you for the $10, my friend. Does the almanac factor in things like the pandemic and the number of new retail investors entering the market? I feel like it's still a coin flip. Handle, it's very much a coin flip, but there are market trends. There are historical like moves. Like, I don't believe everything that's said in the almanac. Like, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to short everything I have tomorrow because the almanac said there's a 35% or a 65% chance that the market's going to be down. No, it's more or less to kind of give me some kind of guidance on what's going on in the market and understanding longer dated trends. And since I'm totally into the psychology of the market, it plays a huge factor for me on looking at transitions from different environments. Like it goes into some of the stuff in the book on if you have a Democratic president or a Republican president, how the market does. It just gives you the data, and it's up to you to interpret that in either way. It's not like it's the holy gospel, and I'm going to treat it like it's going to take me to ever outlasting life or anything. It's more or less to kind of give me some kind of just a small like 5% of my overall like thought process of like what could potentially happen this week. What has historically looked like. Like, I'm a huge believer of history doesn't repeat, it rhymes kind of scenario, like on not just the stock market, but in everything. So if a lot of things line up, okay, we have a Democratic president, we have huge infrastructure bills going out, that can kind of play out there. And to your standpoint of like the retail stuff, no, but they did indicate a lot of things about the volatility of new investors. They didn't talk about directly retailer, but they were just talking about like because the book was, they had to stop making it right after the elections to hit the printing press. So they were just kind of moving the data from around that range. Hope you're doing well. I'm building a long-term position in Haleon. Would appreciate your input. What do you think about the breakthrough tech? I don't know anything about Haleon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Honestly, this technically speaking on the chart here, my friend, it's not my favorite chart. It's well below the 144 EMA here on the daily chart. That's not my favorite cup of tea. It's kind of been bouncing around that $7 to $8, $9 here. So I'm not really too in tune to that. Their technology, I'm not familiar with their technology. I think they have this is the hydrogen truck, right? This is the but they don't have that full production yet. They're still like a hybrid truck kind of mode. They make this like build on capacity to existing trucks. That's from my last time I heard of it. But I thought I don't think this is in as much trouble as Nikola. Like Nikola is in a hell of a trouble with like the former CEO or co-founder or whatever um, really just kind of blatantly lying and bending the truth and just kind of giving really bad investment and stuff. This is definitely, uh, even if it does have good tech, it's kind of caught in the undertone of Nikola, honestly. So if it can kind of differentiate itself from that stock, then it could be potentially a winner in their technology, which I don't know. But technically speaking, the chart does not look good, for my opinion. John Jacobs, hey Ken, would you take a? Did you take a vacation or well-deserved break? I took a vacation slash break, honestly, John. Um, I'm going to be going and working on the channel quite a bit more on doing videos that it could be different videos. It could be large options trading that I find interesting. It could be some philosophy stuff of trading and investing that I like to talk about. But that's what I'm looking for from that standpoint. David, what's up, my friend, is asking for PLTR. Yes, let's talk about PLTR. This has finally kind of breaking out of this base here around $21 to $22 here. We had seen it kind of finally get through here with its earnings last quarter, was it 2 weeks ago now, and continue moving its market higher here. On this current projection path here, we're looking for potentially that $27 plus here, and looking for the next target here. Because again, if we can kind of just move this kind of back out here, this has just kind of been chop, 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 right? It's just kind of been going up to $27, $20, $30, coming back down to that 20-ish dollar range, going back up to 27, kind of just doing that waving kind of pattern here. So I'm still in the stock. I've been in it for quite a bit. I have to thank Alpaca for that recommendation. But looking for that breakout, really seeing above 27.75 to kind of get through that level. Those numbers are from Artex. Okay, I'm definitely gonna look at it tomorrow or in the next couple days. Brian, does AMGN look to you? AM, is that Allergen? What is that one called? Allergen. I don't know what happened here. That doesn't look good on its quarter here, but like technically speaking, on a lot of these pharmaceutical stocks, they're usually very choppy like this. It is kind of coming into some level of support here on the weekly side, but if it starts breaking below 221 to basically 220, that could be if it continues going lower here, because you do see the 8 EMA kind of aggressively pointing down here on the weekly side. We can kind of get maybe some kind of reverse, kind of maybe this kind of slowing down a little bit and maybe kind of curving out here a little bit, and kind of seeing kind of slowly stop that downward movement there. That would be kind of fantastic. I would like that. Yeah, I'm not my kind of cup of tea. A little bit too choppy for my friend there, Brian. What up, Mr. Bear? How you been? What makeshifts? Laughing at him. We missed you. We missed you. Yes, makeshift. You're 100% right. Nikola was a straight scam. Sadly. But the funny thing is, I made a lot of money on Nikola. I bought it at its IPO, or no, on its like before it went to a SPAC mode, and it was a great little move. It went from like $10 or $11 to like 300 plus. Bear, thanks for subscribing, Mr. Bear. I appreciate that. This is funny. Dave's asking for PGNY. Was it PGNY? That sounds familiar. Holy moly guacamole. What happened here? That's a nice little market move there. Let's see here. PNGY is a United States-based management company. The company specialized in fertile and family building benefit solutions in the United States. Fertilization. Oh, It's like, is this considered like a pharmaceutical company, right? Right? Is it a pharmaceutical? Doesn't tell me. Check out the website. So what do they have, some like crazy technology there, Dave? On they're able to make um to be able to um I forget what the process is called, where they take the egg, um fertilization. Is that what the process is called? I thought it was called something else. It's like I am something. It's like an acronym. But yeah, that's a hell of a move. Like, missed on earnings, huge gap down, kind of went down for like a week and a half, and then has made a huge rebound here. You can kind of see that 8 EMA. Again, the 8 EMA is not usually my favorite thing to look at. It's usually the 34 or the 144 EMA, but that 8 EMA is more that momentum kind of market move here, and that has definitely popped off here. So if we do see that continue going higher here, this is clearly, again, a pharmaceutical kind of thing. So it's like news driven kind of stuff, and you really kind of have to know your shit on what you're investing in. It's sometimes very difficult to kind of technically things, because again, how many times have you seen a pharmaceutical company with huge gap downs and it never really rebounds because it missed on its like flagship drug, didn't get FDA approval, or missed on some trials and things like that. So very risky. I think Dave has been a lot of experience in this space, so I think he knows what he's doing. But we can kind of just do a very simplistic fib here from the swing high to swing low here. It did bounce off that 50% move around $45, which we've seen multiple times kind of rebound here. But the next level of resistance we're going to be looking at, Dave, is going to be around that $57 here. Sadar, oh wow, hydration is important, Ken. Thank you for the $5. I really do appreciate it. That is fantastic. I do. I love. You can get these everywhere now. I usually just get them at Costco. It's called Spin Drift. It's sparkling water, but it's like super healthy. It's made with real fruit, and this one, of course, is grapefruit, my favorite. So I appreciate the $5, and I appreciate everyone coming out and listening to my noggin talk. I really do appreciate it. Johnny's asking for thoughts on Hood, technically, and social sentiment. Yeah, I haven't looked at this one. So technically speaking, honestly, Johnny, there isn't too much that we can do here on the technical side, because it's somewhat kind of new here. Normally, since it's only been trading for a couple weeks here, I need to go down to a different time frame. So I don't like to go to the hourly or the 30-minute chart many times, but I'll go to the 4-hour chart. So this is something that I could potentially look at sometime. So this can kind of tell us a little bit of a better pattern here. Initially speaking, had that huge pop off, which again, a crazy volume to like that $85-ish range, and now it's kind of coming back down. This is something that we're going to be looking for some level of support here. Around $45. It's just kind of been cruising around, just kind of like doing that motion, doing that wave kind of pattern here in that range here. Since it's only had one earnings, you're really much, I don't know what the overall market sentiment on it is, on their, like, if people are loving it or hating it, and so forth. But I think it could definitely find some support here around $45. But if it starts breaking below $45, again, it could be any kind of show there. And it doesn't have to hit $45. It can continue going higher here, but there isn't too much really off that we can kind of go market move that we can kind of go off here. Because if we just do the super basic fibs here, look at that, $45.46 kind of falls into that 23.6 percentile move. So that's going to be a level potentially looking for to around that 44.37 would be a potential level of short-term support there. Dave says that, yeah, well, thermal nutritions aren't covered by insurance, so they sell to companies as benefits as an offer. Oh, that's really cool. I don't think they missed earnings. Pretty sure they killed it and did poorly the day after. Oh, okay. But I thought it was just the day, the way it lined up on this chart. Look at it. What I mean by missed on earnings, they could have made money. Like, they could have made money, not meaning they missed on the fundamental like numbers on EPS growth or whatever, but they missed on the overall market sentiment of the kind of market move down there. Um, ba, 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 ba. Oh, that's really good actually. I do take magnesium. I have my wife and my doctor. I take magnesium quite a bit for headaches and stuff like that. Magnesium is really that's a great that's a pro tip right there. Taking magnesium. Dave says hood for the win. Send me the fire emojis when you buy out of the money calls that are guaranteed to expire worthless. Dave's got a plan right there. That's funny. The A couple of the stocks I wanted to talk about was Square. No, it was Square and PayPal. More or less PayPal. I kind of like this pattern that's kind of building up here. It definitely burns your money buying those out of the money short term options. Um, PayPal building a nice potential short term base here around 274 to 275 here. Potentially seeing that pop above 180 and making its way in the short term to around that 285 to 290 plus for a potential quick kind of trade here. But again, if we do break up, I don't know why the fib wasn't on there. If we do get a break above that 280, I'd like to see it break at least 300, but that could be asking for a little bit too much. But yeah. Bear's asking for XLE short. Bear, I'm long XLE. You can make fun of me about it. I got leaps on it. I think it's gonna turn around here. Looking here on the weekly side, again, people look at charts differently. People can do whatever they want. But this is something that has been this hasn't really recovered from where it was before the pandemic at all. And it's one of the only I think it's the only one, right, Bear, within the S&P 500 sectors that hasn't recovered from its previous movement there. That speaking here, so what am I talking about? I'm looking for that level of support here on the 34 EMA here. That $48 level has been somewhat kind of a level it's been kind of holding here. You can kind of see here, look at the volumes. We have picked up substantially. So a lot more volume than the previous year, right? Since the low for the pandemic. And this thing, historically speaking, each time it has like this large market move higher, it kind of makes its comeback slightly. The level I'm really looking for is to kind of potentially get back above 50 plus. But that speaking here, it's looking like it's really trying to. Some people can look at it as a downfall. My options are, I think they're almost 2 years out, right? Let me see here. I bought the 20. Yeah, I bought 500. Yeah, they're 500 plus days out. So yeah, over almost 2 years. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this to potentially break to. I would love to see it break up to 57, but I can ask for a little bit, right? I gotta have a short idea tonight. I have to have a short idea tonight. You know I don't like to short things. We can short Nikola. Actually, I can't even say short Nikola because it always bounces some kind of weird ass shit. It always does something, some kind of move, right? Yeah, I wouldn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. What is oh my god, what is that one that lost the UPS contract? Oh my gosh. That everyone was going ape shit about. Oh, what was that called? I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't say I don't like to short things, Bear, honestly, but Alibaba doesn't look too healthy to me. Handel says, how about CMI? They're coming into hydrogen and CMI. I don't know too much about the hydrogen stuff. This looks oh, Cummings. Yeah, Cummings, great company. I like this. I like this stock. This is great. Isn't what's his face in this stock pretty big? Handle? Is it Michael Burry in the stock pretty heavy? I think he is. I think he is. This looks pretty okay actually. This is looking like it's trying to workhorse. Thank you, Kelly. Oh, Kelly and Dave, thank you. Yeah, workhorse. That's what it was. Yeah, so that was something that I don't workhorse. Yeah. Yeah, this is, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole as well. Looking for XLI leaps. Yeah, I would agree. This looks nice as well. So even looking on the weekly chart here, this looks fantastic, right? It's kind of potentially building a base here around 100 to 102. I like that move here, and maybe making a easy target to run 110 to 108 there, and potentially see that market beat touch there. QK, is anyone watching mRNA or Roku? I'm not really watching mRNA. That's definitely something that's been in the news, of course. It's been pretty insane, the membrane here. We talked about that crazy potential level around 300. I remember we talked about that way back when. That was when it I think it was when it hit here. We're like, well, if it does run, it can definitely go up higher. But never thought it would go hit $300, right? Is something that could easily happen. But with mRNA, right? They're going to be getting into other vaccines, testing the technology and other processes and things like that. Initially speaking, we have some short-term level support coming around $357 here. The next kind of breakout would be around 423 or above there. And then Roku, that level as well. This is again, that's actually surprising. I thought it was going down that bad. It's very choppy here. It's kind of been like Netflix. You can kind of see that Netflix has kind of been rolling, kind of chopping around. If we do see a break about 366, we can potentially get a market move higher. It is kind of hugging that 144 EMA, which it has done multiple times, and then kind of come back to life here. The only thing is I'm a little bit kind of concerned about this one. This was kind of considered like a stay-at-home kind of play kind of scenario. So if that maybe comes back into play, maybe that can maybe get some more love. But this is definitely something that's trying to build a base here and is kind of waiting for the next move higher there. Workhorse was the one I was talking about. I wouldn't want to touch that one. Kev T, what's up, my friend? How you been? Let's look at isn't Amazon buying them? Did I read that right? What do they call it? No. Is it Amazon buying them? I thought Amazon was buying them, right? This is the pay now, or no, buy now, pay later thing, right? Am I thinking of the right one? Yeah, this is, the Amazon's buying this one, right? Am I just, this is the right one. And digital mobile concerns straight down. Yeah, this is the right one. Yeah, Amazon's looking to buy this one. Because I can see it's the ask and the bid is around $92 plus. That's when it came after the hours. Theoretically speaking, they're getting at a pretty decent price because this whole buy now, pay later is definitely something that's really blowing up. Everyone's been talking about it. I've seen it everywhere. Like, hey, pay now, no financing for 6 months on this product, whatever. That $92 level, it has already broken past this. If it breaks 96 to maybe 108, that's something that could be kind of crazy here. I didn't read the full breakdown of the deal, like if they're doing stock or they're just giving cash straight out, or what kind of how the process is looking here. But this is definitely something that is a huge gap higher here. it's not filling the gap where it was on his like IPO kind of time frame. But it's still a nice little bit higher here without a doubt. And it's definitely something that Amazon folks were waiting for to kind of pick down at a bargain here because it has been somewhat building a base around 63 to around that $65 range for some time, just kind of trading in and out of here. But it's a great move if you're in it. Fantastic, my friend. Yeah, I was asking for mRNA short side. Yeah, it can definitely go short. Like it's a little bit more. I like it. The Roku one can definitely pop. I like the Roku idea a little bit better if I had to choose one. Bear, yeah, that hurricane's supposed to be huge, right? Bear, like, it's supposed to be, I think I was reading it's supposed to be like the biggest one in the century or in that time frame. Pretty evil count. I don't think Amazon is buying them. They're just signed a contract with them. Oh, okay. They signed a contract to use them. Ah, okay, Alan. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that. I haven't. It came out Friday, and I've been busy ever since then. I'm negotiating a contract really with crazy stuff right now. So, but that is something that we can easily, if it does break, if it, so that actually is better then. If they're not buying them out straight out, but that $96 plus would be a pretty significant level here. But it could easily run to 108. Of course, it can run to 125, but that if it starts breaking $96, it's very likely to hit 108. It's a level 4, but it goes to level 5, right? It's Irene, right? Irene, Hurricane. Was it Irene? I forget what it's called. But the thing is it's hitting. Let's pull this up here. Okay, it's already made landfall. No, no. The oh, that's whatever. It's already made landfall, but um, but it's hitting an area where it's not the world's greatest infrastructure, right? They have had multiple issues there. Of course, if you remember your short-term memory banks of Katrina, of the levees, how they broke and they flooded so many parts of the city. Like, if you, I've never been to New Orleans, but I know a lot of people who have, and they're like, literally the airport, there's a missing wing they just rebuilt like a couple years ago. They just got it back up. Like, it just takes forever here. It's insane. But yeah, S is a good cybersecurity company. There are a good fortune. Going, can you consider S? I never. What is S? I'm missing that. It's just letter S. Whoa! I've never heard of this one. Sentinel. What is this? I never heard of this, guys. Formal Central Labs is a cybersecurity company. The company has developed an artificial intelligence. Wow. Hmm. Their site looks super cool. Look at this. Oh, no, I want to play the music. Services. MDR, watch how intelligence driven threat hunting, technical account, platform. Huh. Huh. What is considered some of their competitors? I've never heard of this. This looks great. Thank you, my friend, for sharing this one. Um, that's beautiful looking chart. Since it's its first looks like its first earnings date coming up, I'm a little bit hesitant about that, but that is a beautiful looking. That's fantastic, right? Right. So if you're in it, make sure you have a plan and just be careful with it. Oh, all right, ladies and gentlemen, been streaming for a little over an hour. If you guys got any more questions, please put it in the chat now, and then we'll just go over them. eBay gaining momentum. Yeah, I think so. So I like to look at this one a little further out on the weekly chart here, and this kind of tells a little bit of a better picture here, honestly. And again, that 34 EMA is really clutch here on this one, and kind of coming back here multiple times, and now finally breaking out here. The next level, if this is still to kind of continue to crush it, would be looking for around that $86 plus range area there. Could we maybe get a pullback to 70 to even 65 in that time frame? Sure, why not? But this looks like a pretty nice continuously trend higher here for the old eBay. And then FSR, please, of course. Fisker. Oh, this is the one I don't like. You like this one, Dave? I don't know how I feel about this one. I was hesitant about Lordstown. Is that the one? I was hesitant about Lordstown, and they came out as a scam. This one has been bankrupt 3 or 4 times before. I'm really, yeah. I don't have much to say about this one. Yeah, I don't like it. But technically speaking, this is something that I could look for maybe holding this pattern here. Again, technically speaking, the chart's just too choppy for me the way I look at it. It's very sporadic. It kind of breaks, goes higher, and then just kind of crashes. Breaks, goes higher, and just kind of just continues to kind of hold here. And it's really much just like a coin flip to kind of see on how it goes higher or lower. SNDL US, yes. SNDL. So this is the cannabis growing company, right? This thing was at a huge short squeeze, of course, that February time frame, and it has really recovered from that. And I'm not too much knowledge based of the marijuana market, but this is something that is kind of it is building a base here. If this is something like the Wall Street Bets folks uh, could see a nice pop here, but I don't know the fundamental story behind this one. If there is a potential large market driver there, USA. Rob's asking for SoFi. Rob, I don't know many people who invested in SoFi. I am one of them. I think Anthony Noto is a great CEO, great executive, and so forth. They are, I think, undervalued, honestly. Um, but that doesn't mean jack shit, honestly. This is something that I want to see go higher here, but with all the other bank stocks, if you look at like the XLF, if you look at JP Morgan, look at Chase, look at Goldman Sachs, they're all doing fantastic. But SoFi cannot get out of their way. They have literally the same products. They have checking, they have credit cards now, they have investing, they have cryptos, they have all this kind of stuff here. The student loans, home loans, all this kind of stuff here. Insurances, everything, but they just cannot get out of this rut. I don't know. Like, I'm fully basically in this stock. If it starts breaking here lower, it starts getting below 13 to that $12 range, I have to take money off the table because I'm already. I can't take a loss on this one, honestly. I don't know what's on this one, Rob. I wish more people would understand this one. The stock, I don't think the stock, the price of it is really relative to how good the company's doing. I know the fundamental story better than the stock price, honestly. Alan, thank you for the other $5. Look at LM&D, Lemonade, and OTS Omelet as smart stock trades. Baby's heart, oxygen levels, sleeping, low magnesium punch. Lemonade. What is Lemonade's the insurance company, right? Wow, this thing is woo baby. Dang, this thing is. I kind of like Lemonade here. Eh. This could maybe be a double bottom here around $69 to $70. Um, you have I have some leaps, but I got into it with a lot of stock. So I owned SoFi when it was like whatever SPAC C or whatever Chamath's spiel was, uh, and I sold some when I hit like 25, just a little bit of it. But then I bought it. I bought even more back when it was breaking below like 16. But yeah, Lemonade. This looks pretty good here, Alan. I'm gonna have to write that one in the book. And then OWLT. OWLT. Whoa. What happened here, dude? Is this the little crib or the little cradle thing for the baby and it kind of tracks all this kind of stuff? Yeah, that's you must have some cojones, and I know you do, Alan. I'm trying to holding that play. If you have to understand the fundamental story behind this because this chart looks terrible. Dave, the only thing I've made 100K plus gains was legit was going to be on my own interpretation of what's going on in the world. LOL. Childish Goombas commercial is the future of FD or BOT. Dave, that is very important, honestly. I was gonna make that's one of my ideas to make a video of like people are always like, oh, I trade like Warren Buffett, I invest like Warren Buffett, I trade like Michael Burry. No one trades like Michael Burry. Only Michael Burry can trade like Michael Burry. Only person who can invest like Warren Buffett is Warren Buffett. Uh, you have to. You can take pieces from Warren, take pieces from Kathy Wood, take pieces from Bill Ackman, take pieces from Paul Tudor Jones, take pieces from whoever that you find intriguing, that you can kind of correlate and understand, and build your own trading philosophy. If you try to mimic someone else's trading and things like that, it's always some kind of chaotic because it's not your own. You have to understand the whole process. It's like building an airplane. You have to understand every single process talks to each other. If you just know on how the wing function works, you can't fly the airplane. You're going to be grounded your whole time. 40 milligram magnesium oxy OTC per day. You'll be fine with the deflations. Are you on K? I don't know what that means, Dave. I don't know if it's four. I think it's 400 milligrams. It's in a pill. I literally have a tray from Sunday to Saturday, and I have magnesium, vitamin C, zinc. What else? It's basically just the multivitamin stuff. Lemonade utilizes 78% insured interest in 25.3. I don't understand that. What does that mean, Alan? Yo, Ken, is SPRT got any DD or this is legit going to 100K? What's your take on it? Honestly, That was one that we talked about a little bit on the Discord on Friday. Is it going to 100K? This is a short squeeze, ladies and gentlemen. This is literally what's happening here. Could it go to 100K? Sure, why not? This is something that is a short squeeze, so it doesn't follow really any kind of parameters. So you can see here it's other short squeeze that it had way back when of 319. So that was again last year of 319 occurs. Sorry, 319. Sorry, this last February, March when it hit this short squeeze and kind of came right back down. That was potentially what could happen again. Who knows? Could it go to 100? Yes, it's a short squeeze, so the parameters are like a black hole. We just don't know what happens inside of a black hole. We really don't understand what could potentially happen in a short squeeze because it's very much sporadic. It's not any kind of like knowledge behind it, right? It can move so fast in either direction. Roblox IPO looking period expires in 1 week. Using this as a downhill. What do you think? Is it like this is where people can potentially sell out? So looking at the daily chart, Roblox has been interesting. Let's see here. Yeah, that 90 to like $91 range has been some issues on looking at that market move here. Oh, it's 25% no short interest. I like that a lot, Alan, actually. I like stocks that are doing really effing well, but just a crazy high short interest. On that understanding. So looking at that here, yeah, again, it's got some short-term support here around 84 to potentially 82, but it's got more substantial support around the $80 range. But that is something that we could see happen. Of course, if the market pulls back, it's definitely going to take Roblox with it. Could it have a pullback on the IPO lockup period? Sure, why not? If you're looking on trying to buy into that or you're trying to short into that, that's not. I haven't had great experience with that on trying to the time it that sense. Like I'm more like the timing around potential market hitting trend lines, hitting price levels. That's what I would like to potentially get into. Alan says I haven't gotten into OLW yet. I'm looking at it. Things are getting if it bounces. Potassium deletion diversions are like hydrogen. I don't know what the hell, Dave. You might. I don't know anything about that kind of science stuff. Rob's asking for Airbnb. Is it there? Yeah, it's Airbnb, right? Oops, yeah, be Airbnb. Yeah, this one, I talked about this one a little bit. We're looking for a potentially 142% range there, and maybe looking for that level of support there. It is starting to get to that IPO level where I like. So usually after the fourth quarter of the newer IPO stock, it's been out for about a year or so. It kind of utilizes things and kind of get most of the market makers, the analysts kind of have a better feel for it, and it kind of plays to that tune because this honestly looks a lot like Beyond Meat. I know it's a totally different company, but it's like Beyond Meat. So if we look at BYND, so BYND, we have to go a little bit further back. Had a huge market move. Kind of came down on its third quarter, and then from the third to the fourth quarter, it kind of was kind of like flat, had a market move higher. But the time to buy it was after the fourth quarter, and then it had a huge market move. That's when it kind of had these explosive pops there, and seeing that kind of explode there. Not saying that Airbnb is going to be playing that same kind of pattern, but like we talked about this one before, like I like history doesn't repeat, it rhymes, and this kind of pattern looks very much similar to me to that one. So if this kind of can break 142, maybe hold this level here into the earnings of from 11/11/21, that's a great number. Um, into November, we potentially can see some market move higher in that range. Then I potentially would like to get into it and trade it. Um, so let's just say the FDT this week, it will tell the story of SPRT. The new options chain for 4085 was open after Friday's close. Yeah, we'll see. Uh, we'll see, right? We'll see how that one works. Just doing a quick little market overview. We have the S&P 500 pretty much flat overnight here. We'll see how it comes in tomorrow. NASDAQ is, again, flat as well. We have gold up a little bit. We got the old Bitcoin trying to test and break above 50K here. If it does break above 50K, that's going to be a nice little positive movement for those folks in that front. And of course, looking here at the VIX, we are down. It's up just a little bit here today. But again, if you're not familiar with the VIX, it basically is the fear gauge in the market. So we're going to look at that one. And then we have the soybeans, which I don't think no one trades here. And then, of course, we have the treasury bonds, which have been also kind of been bouncing around here, looking for the ones here around 162. I think you are long these, aren't you, Bear, for the treasury bonds. So we'll see how that one all plays out. I think it's going to be a fun, exciting week without a doubt. And I want to thank everyone for coming out from the bottom of my heart. I really do promise that I've been shaking off the vacation, summer kind of just chill and vibe kind of mode here. And we're going to be doing more live streams and videos on content regarding on options trading, large options moves, maybe a couple like reactional videos to some pretty impressive trades that people have made and the reason why behind it. I kind of want to start something about that, but more to come. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Check out the Discord, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream. All right, have a good night and have a great week. Peace.